Gio, let's get down to basics. What was behind your decision to become a SAD or a stay-at-home dad?
Well, I think I came to the decision because of what I do. It's I do stand-up comedy, and most of the time I would actually go out at night and perform. And in the daytime, although I tell my family, my wife especially, that I'm working, in my brain, it's basically what I do at home, and I stay at home from morning till night if there's work or if there are gigs at night. So I don't think it's a decision, but it's more like my family expects me to be a house husband simply because I'm at home. Yeah.
Well, I suppose that makes sense. It's not like you can run away or anything or pretend you're going to the office, right? So you kind of pulled the short straw there.
Yeah, I think it happens to every stand-up comedian, really.
Oh, really? So it's a thing?
Yeah. It's either they stay with their parents or they stay in their own house, like I do. And what we do is it's a weird thing for stand-up comedians, because most of our work are done in our heads. Okay, right. Some will write things down, but most of the work is just done in the head. And it's really difficult to convince family members that you're working when you're actually really just sitting down and watching television. So I guess that's what is expected of me, to actually do something more, do the dishes, wash the clothes, do some ironing, cooking, especially because, because
children need feeding.
The kids and the wife need sustenance. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So how different is doing stand-up comedy to raising kids?
I think the major difference is in stand-up comedy, if you fail, you're forgiven. But being a father, I think, if you fail, I mean, that's going to eat up on my reputation, right? So I guess, that's basically the main difference. You're not given a second chance. You're pressured to make it work the first time, and hopefully you can replicate that process, and to ensure it works with the kids. So yeah, I guess that's the main difference.
I suppose, when you're doing your night job or your part-time job, shall we say, or part-time thing, you are used to audiences listening to you and following what you say. Children don't work that way. In fact, I think they are wired to work the opposite. So what's that like, trying to get them to do what you need them to do? Are they compliant? How do you run your household?
I think I run my household in a more stressful way than being on stage, talking to 100 to 1,000 people. That's very easy, but talking to two kids is just really difficult. So I run it differently. I I tend to give them more rewards than punishment and scolding and grounding.
So bribe them? You bribe them?
Yeah, I bribe them. And it kind of worked in some ways. Like I bought them, I let them play my PS4. Right. And I would specifically buy certain games for them so that they'll get into those games. And after that, I will bribe them with books, like, look, I bought this book for you, and they share the same characters as the game you play. Hey, let's go read it. The more you read, the more time you get on PS. It's kind of worked, and I got them hooked on not only PS but now reading as well. So both my kids read quite a lot, and it seems to be working until they realize they're being tricked into accepting these rewards, and now they're just slacking. So I think I gotta find that balance again. Yeah.
You need to find new tactics, my friends. That's what you need to do. Yeah. If the strategy isn't working, you're not getting the laughs, you've got to change it up. That's what you need to do, right? So, you're pretty much doing a full-time job during the day, cleaning the house, cooking, looking after the two kids and everything. And you pop off in the evening sort of to do some of your comedy gigs and stuff when your wife is back home. How on earth do you find the energy? Because I know I don't have the energy come evening and it's bedtime for my kiddo. It's like, oh my gosh, can I go to bed too? So how do you find the energy?
Well, I think being an insomniac works. I think when it comes to doing the work at home, being a house husband, being a stay-in father, I think it's all about responsibility and love, and comedy is all about the adrenaline, you know. And because of adrenaline, I stay up and keeps me energized. I think that's how it works for me. But the problem is, every time after a gig, I'll stay up till 4, and it's because of this overload of adrenaline. So I don't know. I don't know, but I survived, I guess.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know how you make the 6 a.m. wake up calls for school and stuff. So kudos to you.
But 6 a.m. is, I think 6 a.m. for me is fine. I don't have the long 8-hour sleeps at night. What I do I have I take micro naps between, like in between. So it all that adds up to like about maybe 6 hours of sleep a day, which is kind of great. Yeah. I can do mornings, no problem. But 10 a.m. onwards, I get really sleepy. So I tend to take naps in between. Yeah, so that kind of works. But I don't think it's advisable, you know, for health reasons, right, in the long run.
Right. Well, you know, no judgment here. I wanted to touch on something you were saying a little bit earlier about sort of like everyone making you feel like since you're at home and got nothing better to do, get on with doing this, you know, these jobs. Do you ever feel pressure to work, i.e. to keep on doing perhaps the comedy gigs at night, sometimes as a part-time thing? Do you feel pressured to be doing that?
Yes, I do. Simply because I come from a family where both my parents are white collar workers. They have full-time jobs. In fact, before doing comedy, I've in some sense set myself into thinking that I'll probably just, you know, hold on to a desk job or something. And when the shift comes, and because they don't tell you this, but it is quite a lucrative. It's quite a lucrative business, comedy, if you focus on it. And
if you're good.
Well, if you focus on it as well. I'm not sure whether right now, because there's so many comedians out there, and some of them are not so good.
Sorry, we didn't hear that. Never mind.
But the thing is, the focus is there, and they're making it. So that it is. I guess focus is very, very important. Focus on the job. So yes, I do feel the pressure, but at the same time, I also do feel that my wife is really good at her job. And I think she fares a better chance in excelling in what she does. And right now, I can tell you that she's actually in Australia. She has a job there, and I think that wouldn't be possible if I never like focus on, you know, what I'm supposed to do at home, you know, being a good stay-in father, being a dependent house husband, and so on and so forth. So I think the pressure is still there to get a job, right. But at the same time, I'm not sure where will my wife be without me, you know, being stuck at home and doing all those things that stereotypical wives are supposed to do, you know.
You know, absolutely. You know, we need the support system if you're working, right? So how long has your wife been in Australia? Like, rewind and tell us what happened there.
Right. So during the first MCO, she was out of a job, and then basically she looked into getting a job elsewhere. And I think it was a hard decision at first for her to take, but it'll benefit the family in the long run. And she took a chance, and now she runs her own science lab in Australia. She's actually the smart one. She's an embryologist.
Wow. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that means, but
And
wow.
like she take the sperm. Can I say sperm?
Yes.
And the egg, and then you combine it, and
Fertilize it.
the
Wow.
baby come up. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah,
You
but
should never tell people that explanation. It's just so rubbish. I think you need to work on that delivery.
I know I actually have a set on it, and it's actually much worse. And I don't think I'm ready to share it with the world.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're ready to hear it either. Carry on.
Can I just go on record to say that although my wife is an embryologist, both my kids are natural.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Moving swiftly on. How much harder is it then for you? Like, you know, if you've been sort of doing this since your kids were born, and now your wife, how long has she been in Australia? Since when?
Oh, sorry. Since August last year. So
since August. Yeah. Right. So since August last year, your wife's been in Australia. How much harder has it been for you to be like fully, totally on your own with the kids?
Because before this, my wife was have really long hours, and I do not know why. So most of the time at home, I'll be doing most of the stuff. So I'm kind of gotten used to it. But without her, I guess I can't slack anymore. Like if let's say I'm tired and I've left some clothes unfolded or dishes unwashed, at least my wife will, you know, once in a while go into the kitchen or in the washing machine room, or whatever that room is called, right? Yeah. And she'll pick up on the work. But without her, I guess you got to do everything. But I guess we can't hit the target where, okay, everything has to finish by today. You know, you gotta leave some dishes there for the next day, or leave some clothes for the next 2 weeks to be folded. You know, things like that. So I guess it's harder because no one's just watching your back. That's really just it. And the kids are coping really well without her. Good. I think it's because they're very focused in what they like to do. They like to draw. You know, my other kids like playing chess and board games and this and that. So they're more into all those hobbies, I would say. Yeah. And improving themselves. And I'm very grateful to have both kids, which who are very. I don't like to use the word driven, but
independent.
Or independent, but you're not as distracted as other kids I would feel, you know, like they would just, they can do one thing throughout the day. And I think that's just great. Yeah.
Wow, that must be super helpful. Do you have anyone, like, you know, I know we're in lockdown now, it's a bit different, but do you have mom, dad, or anyone who can come over and just give you like an hour or two off if you need a micro nap or you need to get that bit of laundry or groceries done?
Well, I think I can do the micro naps with the kids, you know, still running around. But yes, because of the lockdown, especially right now, we need technically we need 2 adults at home. So my mom is actually watching over the kids. And it's just really difficult to get around, you know, if you're just being alone, the only adult at home, because you gotta chuck both your kids in the car to grab like a loaf of bread or something, which is kind of ridiculous, and hope that, you know, there'll be no cops in between to question you, right? So yeah, I think only for this lockdown it helps to have another adult, my mom, over to handle the kids. But if it's like the CMCO, during the CMCO, I was all alone, and it's still fine. You know, it's really about keeping your kids busy and try to get them to reach their next level. Is like my kid, one of my kids love playing chess, and then I would download an app for him to, you know, and I would recommend videos for him to watch on YouTube, watching grandmasters play and things like that. So I guess in my head, there's always the next level.
Right. So you're planning, right?
Yeah, but I don't actually plan, like, you know, Like, okay, this is where you should reach in 2 years, things like that. I think it's for me, how I trick them into it is to
I love this. Trick them into it.
No, really,
Yeah.
it's using improv, you know. It's like, hey, look what Daddy found. Hey, this guy, this world champion in chess shares the same name as you, Magnus. Hey, look, don't you think it'd be fun videos to watch on YouTube? Let's just watch him, and then I'll leave and do my thing, and then you'll be engrossed for like a couple of hours. So
I love it.
So, yeah.
Do your kids find you funny? Do they find your jokes funny? Do you try your stuff out on them?
I do. To them, because they only watch my stuff on YouTube, and because I only like upload like good stuff, stuff which I enjoy. On YouTube, they assume that Daddy is the funniest comedian in the world because everyone is laughing whenever Daddy talks. But I don't teach them things like, you know, canned laughter and stuff like that. But there's a sort of expectation within them. Every dinner time, they go like, Daddy, give me a riddle, you know, Daddy, tell me a joke for kids. And then I'll start telling jokes for kids. Okay, so which Disney movie has a Chinese cow? Mulan. And they will laugh.
That's a terrible joke.
I know.
That's a terrible.
You see,
I've got a great website. I got a great website. I'm going to share it with you because there's much classier jokes than that.
Great.
Yeah,
that's great. So during dinner time, I just bring my laptop to the dinner table and just let them scroll.
No, you still have to deliver it because you need to sound cool for as long as you can. Because trust me, when they get to 14 like mine, they'll start looking at you with different eyes and any coolness you might have had is gone, my friend.
Wow. I can't wait.
So, okay. You mentioned something in the phone conversation we had the other day about your love of doing household chores for a particular reason. Can you share that with everyone?
Yeah, I think it started because I stayed in Australia for my studies for just under a year, and I realized that I think a lot, but I have no time.
That's good.
Yeah, I have no time to basically do other things, you know. So I figured that if I perfect certain things like the stuff I cook, if I perfect the techniques and everything, when I do my washing, and when it's my turn to clean up the a flat, then I could basically use this time as a form of relaxation and dive back into my head. Okay. So now what I do is whenever I cook, whenever I do my washing the dishes or the clothes or folding the clothes and doing other things, I can be vacuuming some parts of the house. I can now just dive back into my head and keep thinking, you know, hey, how come the joke not funny? You know, things like that.
Right. Okay. Wow. So it's your time to reflect on your work. I mean, like on the comedy and those kinds of things.
Yeah. So and I realize it works well with kids because when Daddy's doing the dishes, you know, the kids are not going to hang out. You're like, I'll watch Daddy do dishes because it's exciting. They'll just basically run off and do some other stuff. They'll be kicking a ball in the hall or something like that. So in those moments, I can basically do my work in my head. And hopefully by nighttime they're asleep, I open my laptop and I still remember and I jot those things down. So I think I get into it a lot when I'm writing for someone or for something, writing towards something. So I'm grateful that I'm able to harness some sort of level of concentration during house chores. So I'm not sure people do it, but I would highly recommend it. Do
you know,
it's mindless, you know, house chores are mindless.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, you're being mindful while you're doing mindless stuff. So I love that. And I'm actually going to take that on board for when I'm doing mine. So thank you for that.
But didn't you like create a special word for that? Did you want to share
what did we call it? What did we call it? We called it Zen something.
Zen, yeah, it's Zen something. Zen.
What was it?
Zen mindfulness, Zen something.
Zen chores? No, Zen chores, or I don't know, something like that. We have, brilliant ideas. that came up on the phone conversation that now, because we've got Swiss cheese brains because we're parents, we've forgotten. Never mind, it'll come back to us. So I'm just curious, I love the fact that, your close friend, family at least, expect you to be dad on call, right? But have you ever had any negativity or flack from anybody else about being a stay-at-home dad?
Well, I think most of it would come from my mom, really, because she really thinks that you should get a 9 to 5 job. It's very, very important. So
what do you think I'm doing, Mom?
Yeah, I'm actually doing much more, right? I mean, we're staying at home. The job doesn't end. There's always something somewhere that you can't remember, and then you got to do it. You got to pick it up again. Like I was supposed to fix like a few light bulbs now. I'm giving myself a number, like, okay, if 5 light bulbs burst, then I'll start changing them. So some parts of my house are pretty dark now, and the kids do not know why. And I just tell her, oh, it's a lockdown, and Daddy is just trying to save money paying electricity bill. Okay, so I think there's a certain level of expectation there from my mom, but also at the same time, whenever she's over, she's kind of happy that, oh, I didn't know my son is like so efficient, like, because all this while, because earlier in my son's life, he's just basically tricking me into believing that me as his mother should supposed to do everything at home, because really my mother is just a very incessant house chore, like I call her a house chore junkie.
Right.
Okay, she would come over to my house and say like, so Chiho, you got no clothes to wash today? Very bright, the sun. Don't waste the sun. I'm like, okay. During the evening, there'll be some wind, and it'll bring in some leaves to the porch. You can go sweep the porch, Mom. I'm sorry, I have no more clothes to wash. So there's also a level of expectation, and also some relief that I'm able to handle stuff at home, I guess. So
that's good to hear, and I love your tactic by the leaves on the porch. I'll have to remember that. All right. So if you could sum it up, what do you love most about being a stay-at-home dad?
What I love most is I'm able to have my own time, because when I was really like doing lots of things apart from being stay-home dad, because there was a point of time where I was taking like doing 3 different jobs a day. Other than being a house husband, I was a producer. At the time, I was a bit of an actor for commercials and this and that, and doing a stand-up comedy thing. I realized that I don't have some me time. And I think one of my friends who's much younger than me is like, so Uncle Chiho, what do you do for your me time? I'm like, what's me time?
Noodle time, is it?
Huh? You don't know what's me time? Me time is when your time for yourself is very important for stand-up comedians. At the time, she was an open micer. Now she's a great comedian now. So it's like, oh, shit, I really don't have me time. So I guess being a house husband give me the privilege and also the option to choose when I have those me times, and kind of make sure my brain is at rest before I use it again. And I realized my writing became easier because of that. And I don't think it would happen if I didn't stay at home, and I think it's much easier now during the MCO because there are absolutely no jobs, and I'm just basically focused on just 1 or 2 things, being, just clean up the house, the kids, and after that, just focus on a bit of writing for like future works. So I guess for me, those are the benefits. And also, I think a lot of people don't get to say this, but because they're out working and all, but time with with kids. I mean, that is something very, very special, I feel. And I think I'm lucky enough to have the time, to spend with the kids. There's so many things where you just wish that your eyes have some recording equipment, like you can put like a memory stick in your head and somehow record everything. And some moments were magical. And I guess that won't happen if, you're not at home with the kids. Yeah.
Mm. Well, it's Father's Day coming up.
Oh, really?
What kind of what message would you have?
Okay, guy.
What's your message to your fellow dads, especially your fellow stay-at-home dads?
Hello, stay-at-home dads. All this while, I thought I was the only one. I'm so glad that it is actually more than just me. And I would say, I think do what we do best. Keep at it. Be responsible, and one day our wives will love us more for it. One day.
Fantastic. Thanks. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.